Skull Rock Podcast is brought to you by the generosity of the following companies. The Old Mill Press, publishing beautifully crafted books that illuminate our world. To learn more, visit theoldmillpress.com. And by listeners like you.
Aye, ladies, remember this as the day you sailed with the Skull Rock Podcast. Proceed at your own risk, or well be words, ladies. Dead men tell no tale.
Welcome to Skull Rock Podcast, the show about all things Disney and pop culture. Every week we take you behind the scenes of some of your favorite Disney films, theme park attractions, performances, books, music, as well as what's streaming, what's playing in theaters, and what's happening in this universe of entertainment. I'm Aljon, musician and longtime Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, and pop culturist. And you can email me, Aljon, A-L-J-O-N, at skullrockpodcast.com.
And I'm Dave Bossert, artist, filmmaker, Disney historian, author, certified in loitering. Welcome to the Skull Rock Podcast. If you love Disney and pop culture, please subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. You can also like and follow us on Facebook, X, Blue Sky, Instagram, LinkedIn, and on our Skull Rock YouTube channel. You can also email me at dave@skullrockpodcast.com.
Aljon here, and Dave is on a hiatus this week, and I'd like to send our condolences to Dave. His mom lived a great life, and I know they're celebrating her life in big ways with him and his family and friends, so my condolences, our condolences and our thoughts go out to him and his family at this time. And if you want to drop a note, feel free to send him an email. That would be great. But having said that, we are joined in this huge week of pop culture news from San Diego Comic-Con and the release of Fantastic Four First Steps. Cat Arcori, my co-host on the Dining at Disney podcast. Cat, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Happy morning. We are recording this on Sunday morning. Just so you know, normally Dave and I do this recording, but decided to tag in an awesome pop culture champ. Cat has been a huge Disney fan. You want to tell our listeners about you and what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm an experiential producer. I'm a film historian. I'm a lifelong Disney, Marvel, Star Wars nerd. You can see if you're watching the podcast. And I'm also a Comic-Con veteran. I've been haven't gone the last couple of years, but I went to Comic-Con for many, many years. D23. I love a convention, so going through all this news is definitely a highlight of my year and of my summer, and I'm very excited to dig into it with Aljon.
Oh, that is awesome. You know, I love the Comic-Cons. The one bucket list thing that I have is going to San Diego Comic-Con. Kristen and I have been invited back when we were thriving as Disney vloggers back in the day, but we haven't ever attended. I've gone to Chicago Comic-Con, C2E2, for many, many years, quite religiously, and Disney, the D23 convention, Star Wars Celebration. You've ended up working or attending a lot of those conventions yourself. It's so much fun to go to these conventions because that's where the tribe is. That's where all of our people are. Cosplayers,
Seriously.
people that celebrate pop culture, sci-fi, comics, horror. Everyone gets together. Everyone goes down to Artist Alley and stock up on all kinds of stuff for the house. I mean, that's just kind of what we do, right?
Oh, definitely. I love it. It's such a community of people who are like into art, they're into exploration, they're into sci-fi. It's just storytellers coming together who want to tell more stories, and I think it's so special. I haven't gone to Comic-Con in a couple of years, but when I went, it was always such an adventure, and you get to see so many new things and meet so many incredible people, and you know, it's incomparable. You can't really compare it to anything else.
It warms my heart because so many, you and I and my wife, Kristen, when we go to things like D23, that's when our heart gets touched, when we're there with our fellow geeks, and that's where we had met you, and we had connected through the Sorcerer Radio community many, many, many years ago. I mean, this has been like maybe 15 years of plus
back
of a
when Jesus
relationship.
had a paper route.
But I mean, and this is how geeky we are, and then to be connected with the Disney fan community, and then to connect with Dave, and then to further connect with the rest of these great filmmakers, animators, and Imagineers. It's great because I know this is something that you hold close to your heart as well. It's just a really wonderful community. So.
Absolutely.
Well, Kat, I'm happy to have you along for this ride as we talk about our favorite stuff coming from San Diego Comic-Con. But also let me say that this show is also the last week of Kevin Lima Month. And so later on, we're going to have the very last piece of our, dare I say, 6-part interview with Kevin Lima. It's been an amazing, amazing ride, and I can't wait to talk more about Kevin Lima. We also have a very cool poem of Matt Mason reading a celebratory poem from his book celebrating 70 years of Disneyland, and Matt Mason is our poet laureate of this show. So we've got a lot of different segments we're going to be flying in later on, and our pop culture news and reviews. But first and foremost, let's get into
Skull Rock Podcast.
All right, this one coming in hot off the email, hot off the You Got Mail. It's listener Chris from Fort Worth, Texas writes, "First off, Dave, I'm sorry to hear about your mother. I know everyone deals with loss differently, and I won't say I know what you're going through, but I lost my dad last year. I'm sorry to hear that. And I know losing a parent is tough no matter how much you may feel they're ready for it, keeping you and your family in my prayers." That is a very nice sentiment. I feel the same way. I lost my mom a few years back, and it's never easy. But because of your support, I know Dave would appreciate it. He later continues, "I'm curious if you've had a chance to see the Nautilus series. I saw it finally available in the U.S. on AMC+. I'm a massive fan of Disney's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea film, and I was excited when I heard Nautilus was under development. I also remember enjoying the attraction at Disney World, although it was probably better in my memory than it was in reality. My dream would be for the seas with Nemo and friends to get a 20,000 Leagues makeover, but I digress. I know the Nautilus series was essentially shelved by Disney and never made it to Disney+. The reviews haven't been kind in international markets that got to see the series first. What do you think is wrong with it? Any insight in what you can share? Keep up the great work. Always love the podcast and hope you have a great book project in the works before long. Thanks, Chris from Fort Worth, Texas." Well, I have not seen the Nautilus series. Kat, have you seen it at all? Because it's on AMC.
I have not seen it yet. I literally was having this exact conversation with my mother very recently. It's on Prime? Is it? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, you can check out. It's on Prime Video in the UK and AMC Plus in the States.
Okay.
So it is available out there. I think you can even rent it if you'd like. But
yeah.
I have details regarding the series. It says here, Nautilus was not made available on Disney Plus due to Disney's cost-cutting measures and the company's content removal plan. The series was produced by Moon River TV in 7 stories with funding from the Mouse House, and it began in 2022. The show was completed, but Disney decided not to move forward with the series. Took an impairment charge. I think that's how you say it. Impairment charge on the Nautilus and Spider-Wreck Chronicles, and had to cancel plans to stream them on Disney Plus. Instead, the series was picked up by Amazon's Prime Video in the UK and later by AMC in the US. I was excited to hear about it too when I first heard about it, but much like other things, I just thought maybe the show was vaporware and decided to just, go off into the ether. But, from what I can see, it's gotten decent reviews on IMDb. It's, ranges from like a 6 to a 7. But it looks very interesting. This is unfortunate because there were so many things during the pandemic that got greenlit and then ended up getting shelved. A lot of that we're just now seeing with Marvel Studios and shows like Wonder Man that are now coming out, or Iron Heart that were released. But I will check out this series to see if it's any good, and I'm curious about it myself. I don't know, Kat, does it look enticing to you at all?
It's a prequel, which I find to be very interesting, but the lead actor, Shazad Latif, was on MI5.
Yes.
in UK, and I loved him on that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, it seems to
I
be.
mean, I'd check it out.
It seems to be like an interesting series, and like I said, while the reviews maybe early reviews were not necessarily the best, even a 6 and a 7 is not bad, really, especially for a series that only has 10 episodes. I don't know if it's going to be greenlit for another season. I didn't see any information regarding that, but I mean, I guess we'll just have to, it just depends. I mean, this was made in Australia. It was an Australian production. So we will see. But that is a great question. Yeah. And once again, if you have any questions for us or there's something you would like for us to review, I will definitely check out this show. Please feel free to drop us an email and we will review it in an upcoming episode. All right, Kat, now it's time for us to check out our reviews and what we've been streaming this week. Fantastic Four, which we're going to be talking about during our headlines, is going to thrill or has thrilled audiences around the globe. What are your thoughts about it since you and I had both seen it this week?
Okay, let's preface. I don't watch Marvel trailers. Period. Point blank. Do not watch them. I go into these movies blind because I love Marvel movies so much, and I just felt that trailers were getting to a point where they were telling a lot of the story.
True.
I feel like at this point, it's okay for me to say this now, but if I had gone into Captain America Brave New World knowing Red Hulk was going to be happening, I would have been furious. And I knew Harrison Ford was in it, and I knew who he was playing, and I know the character, but knowing that was going to happen in the film, I felt like I had needed that wall of ignorance to go in and enjoy myself.
Well, that's good. Well, having said that, let us state some ground rules, because a lot of our listeners may not have seen Fantastic Four: First Steps.
No spoilers.
So let us be spoiler free. Let's just talk about the cast, the writing, and maybe some of the pacing and overall impressions.
Exactly. That's where I was going.
Great.
I don't want to spoil anything because it just came out, and I hate that. So I'm just highest of high level.
Okay.
I was very pleasantly surprised. Aljon, but Fantastic Four has a very special place in my heart, and the last couple of ventures of Fantastic Four have been not the greatest.
Yeah.
I'm going to be kind.
Yes, you can say
early
it.
This morning.
It's it was hard for me to watch the Fantastic Four.
Oh my God, it was so rough.
It was really hard for me to get through it. I did not watch it when it came out, and because the things get spoiled for me super easy. So when it got spoiled for me, I was like, no, because first of all, I love Michael B. Jordan, and the rest of the cast was really good. But it's just but anyway, before you get into it, let's read the boilerplate. All right. Set against the vibrant backdrop of the 1960s inspired retro futuristic world, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm, as they face the most daunting challenge yet, they're forced to balance their roles as heroes with the strength of a family bond. They must defend the Earth from a ravenous space god called Galactus and his enigmatic herald, the Silver Surfer. And if Galactus's plan to devour the entire planet and everyone on it weren't bad enough, suddenly it gets very personal. So that is quite an interesting boilerplate for this film. Now, Kat, we set it up. Have at it.
I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. This might be the first time in the history of my film watching that I wanted more CGI.
Really?
I wanted more powers.
Oh.
I wanted more powers. Also, Galactus could have been purpler. I'm just saying.
Ah, yes.
Overall, though, I thought it was really heartfelt. I thought it was touching. I was very pleasantly surprised with the story and how they brought an audience up to speed where the Fantastic Four, meeting them where they were in their story instead of making us start at the beginning, which I think has been kind of an issue with the past Fantastic Four films. But I was so pleasantly surprised. I thought Vanessa Kirby gave an incredible performance as Sue Storm. I thought Ben Grimm looked amazing. I love Johnny Storm just generally, and I thought Joseph Quinn was very effervescent through the whole thing. And Pedro Pascal is Pedro Pascal. He can do no wrong in my eyes. Let him do whatever he wants.
Okay, awesome. I love that. That's
What'd you
great.
think?
Well, I echo your sentiment. First of all, the casting was great. I thought Vanessa Kirby, her time has come. I thought the interactions between the family dynamic was very good. I thought that they had a lot of things to do in this first movie, and the speed run of their origin story was dealt with in a very cool way. As you said, we meet up with the heroes in the middle of the journey, and it didn't take away from it. I will say the pacing of the film is rather brisk, and there are really no places for a breath. There are beats and things that I thought would have gotten a little bit weighty or needed to settle in a little bit, and it never really quite does that. I would say there are poignant pauses, but not pregnant pauses, if I can use that term, because I think it's suitable. But I think you're right. I mean, I think there is a lot of great personality. I think this is driven by personality. I thought, yes, I could have used more powers. I thought that the villains were pretty good overall, but I was kind of let down by the lack of Silver Surfer in it. Because I thought that Julia Gardner could have been cooler, but man, there's so much they had to do. I was quite surprised by Paul Walter Hauser's Mole Man portrayal, because he's hilarious in everything he does. I was a really big fan of Paul Walter Hauser in Cobra Kai and thought he was just hilarious. It's great that my buddy Matthew Wood from Lucasfilm is there doing the voice of Herbie. I think Herbie's so great, and what a great deep cut for fans of the series, especially from the back in the day from watching the cartoon like I did when I was a kid. Director Matt Shankman I thought was really great. He had a lot to accomplish, and the reviews of this film have been decent at about 7.5 on IMDb, and I will say it's well earned. And there were some scenes that were very, very touching, where I started to get a little emotional about it, because I think everybody would like to idealize their family in this way. You know, a lot of the things that the Fantastic Four has been historically in the comics, as well as depicted in different films, were kind of bickery, a lot of sibling rivalry between Johnny and the Thing. And the relationship between Sue and Reed had always been kind of one of a very loving, but also seemingly detached in their relationship, especially with Reed, because Reed was so intellectual. But I think that every one of these characters had a place to shine, and I can appreciate it for what it is. I think I want to see more. I definitely want to see more. For sure. And I didn't think the effects were bad at all. I think this is probably some of the best use of effects that I've seen in a Marvel movie since like Endgame.
Yeah, it was just beautiful. The whole thing was just beautiful. I'm gonna not lie to you, Aljon. Mm-hmm. The titmouse in animation sequences.
Yeah.
Sent me. I was like, I could have blasted off into space. I was so happy. I was like, you don't get a company like Titmouse to come in and do your animation sequences unless you're going to feature them. And the way they featured them, I was like, oh my God, this is so good.
It's so good.
So good.
And eagle-eyed viewers will appreciate every cameo in this film. The fan service is deep, and I jumped out of my seat when I saw what I saw. That's all I'm going to say. Just because it's so exciting to me that the fact that they paid tribute to Jack and Stan the way they did, I was so appreciative of it, because I believe the two of them remain in the lexicon of great American storytellers.
Agree.
And I have so much reverence for both of them. You know, they were kind of like John and Paul of the Beatles. They are kind of like the two that will forever will be intertwined. And the fact that the Marvel's first family was done in this way, paying reverence and homage to the source material the way they did with the cover of the first Fantastic Four, with the treatment of Stan and Jack and the great performances, gives it 2 high thumbs up for me. So that's my review. Yeah.
Definitely. I am going to ask you one question. I don't think it's a spoiler.
Okay.
Did you catch the Disneyland? Mm-hmm. That song started playing, and I was like, what is happening?
Oh, it's exciting. Yes, let's give a huge shout out to Michael Giacchino, because the score is so darn good.
It's incredible.
everything about this film is great. Now, was it the best Marvel film I've seen? No. But I think it's a great first step into this newly rebooted, what we will see is the newly rebooted MCU. And so I'm cool with that. I like the fact that it doesn't require a lot of homework. I think that the MCU is daunting to a lot of people because of the decade plus of films that people felt like they needed to see. You can just jump into this and enjoy it. And so I encourage our listeners to get out there and see it and support it. Marvel Studios, great work. Kevin Feige, please stay on board. I think it's only going to get better from here. I have very high hopes for the future of Marvel Studios. I'm glad you feel the same. What did you think about it? Let us know in the comments, please. We would appreciate it because this is just one of the other, great films that we've seen. Kat, what else have you seen? Is there anything else worth mentioning this week?
Man, I spent a lot of time working from home this week, and I tend to roll my Netflix in the background. And the two things that I watched this week, and I will say they're not family-friendly items.
Okay.
Untamed, starring Eric Bana.
Dave saw that last week.
Which I was with. I was a slow burn, for sure. Mm-hmm. And I also watched The Hunting Wives with Brittany Snow and Malin Ackerman.
Okay.
Which was... I did not enjoy it. It was not... The way that it's advertised is definitely not what it is. And I went into it thinking it was going to be kind of like murder mystery, because that's what it's kind of advertised as. And it had a little of that, but it was very R-rated, not what I was expecting when I turned it on.
Ooh. Well, that's not good.
Not to say that other people won't enjoy it. I think if you're a fan of like Desperate Housewives, maybe if like Desperate Housewives wasn't funny, you know what I mean.
So it's not ironic in the least.
No, but check it out. Brittany Snow is incredible. The writing is interesting. It's based on a book. I haven't read the book. I want to read the book now because of, it's the way that I felt about Rivals. Did you watch Rivals on Hulu?
I did not watch Rivals. No.
I enjoyed Rivals, another R-rated, mystery type of story, but I went back and read that book and it made me enjoy the series more. So I'm hoping that if I go and read the book that this is based on, I'll, catch up. But
very cool.
What about you?
Well, this week was also very busy for me, but Kristen and I, not only did we watch Fantastic Four together, but we also saw the streamer Brick. It is a film on Netflix. It was produced in Germany, so it was overdubbed, which sometimes you get hit and miss with overdubs, like Squid Games or something like that, but this in particular was actually done pretty nicely. It's a drama, mystery, sci-fi thriller, and it reads, suddenly surrounded by a mysterious brick wall, must work their way out with their neighbors in order to find a way out. So this has gotten a 5.4 on IMDb. The cast overall is pretty good. And I will say that while there was mystery in the very beginning, the middle had a little bit of work in terms of pacing. I felt literally turned to Kristen and said to her, I think I'm not going to like how this is going to end. In other words, I think it's going to be a waste of time. And I was proven wrong. The third act ratcheted up, and there was a Planet of the Apes style ending. And that's all I can say about it. So was it good? I will say it's fair to Midland. I think that it was not a waste of time because ultimately there was some really good portions of it. And there was a couple twists and turns in it, which I felt like, okay, I'm invested, I'm good. And it's always disappointing, though, when you can turn to your partner or whomever, the group that you're watching the movie with, and go, I'm not liking it, after 30 minutes. But then you kind of stick it out and they almost stick the landing. I think it's good. All right. So I don't, your mileage may vary, but I can tell you that I did end up giving it a thumbs up ultimately on Netflix. So check out Brick if you're interested. This looks like it could be something very interesting. As a standalone, I think I'm okay with it. That's all I can say about it for now. What have you been watching? Let us know in the show notes.
Skull Rock Podcast. This week in Disney and pop culture.
All right. The world is buzzing. It's San Diego Comic-Con time, and that pretty much leads our stories. But first, Fantastic Four: First Steps opened with $57 million on Friday domestically, making it the second biggest opening box office of this year. I can't speak. Just behind Minecraft movie, and it's projected to hit 120 million, 125 million domestically opening weekend, and $220 to $230 million globally, making it Marvel's strongest launch since Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Kat, that's great news for the studio.
I think so. Ever since Kevin came out and said they were going to be refocusing and closing the aperture on what they've been doing because of the extreme push for content and the loss of focus and loss of concentration on detail and just overall putting out the best work that they can put out. I think this is a great start towards, the next Avengers, towards the upcoming series on Disney Plus. I'm excited to see what's coming. I really am. I won't say that 5-letter word that we all think about all the time, Blade, but maybe we'll get there and it'll be something great if we keep on this upward trajectory.
I hope so as well. I think this bodes well for the studio. I'm looking forward to what they do next. Man, I'm just full of Fantastic Four references this morning. Other players in the space: Superman, doing well. Globally, they're doing really well. 500 million plus. I actually have yet to see Superman. I hope to take in a double feature with the kiddos and Kristen maybe this next weekend at the drive-in. That's where we usually see her films. Also, Jurassic World Rebirth, they're doing well, coming in second place with 600 million globally, continues to dominate F1, the movie. We're in the midst of the summertime movies, so this is happening. Also, even though it's kind of gotten panned by some critics, the Smurfs animated reboot, can you believe it's rebooted already?
I can't.
I really enjoyed the Smurfs movies, but I watch it with the kids. But 17.4 million, at least it's showing up, so we'll see how it goes. Who knows? But it is San Diego Comic-Con time, and I love watching social media during this time because the cosplay community, the costumers do such an amazing job. The belle at the ball this year is Galactus. There was a huge, a 10-foot Galactus that's storming the Comic-Con floor. Have you seen it?
Yes, it's so good.
It's insane. Let's start off with Marvel news. Fantastic Four's First Steps premiered during the convention with great boosts. They've recreated Yancey Street, which is great. And by the way, I love how the character of Ben Grimm is kind of like a big Santa Claus, for the kids there. I love that. And Times Square recreated, of course. X-Men 97 Season 1 finale collectibles were unveiled, including Cyclops, Jean Grey. Thunderbolt's got a quick promo with an ice cream truck, which was there with, and you're a big fan of soft serve, so there you go.
I am.
And you want to take us through some of the DC announcements here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Peacemaker Season 2 trailer drop. John Cena is returning, alongside new cast members like Frank Grillo. I love Frank Grillo, I am 100% on board for this.
Yeah.
Love. Peacemaker, their activation looked so funny.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It was like Peacemaker Fest or something, or Peace Fest, and it was like, it just looked really hilarious.
Of course.
Also, I believe Michael Rooker will be making his first appearance on Peacemaker Season 2 as well, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I would think that they're bringing everybody that he's worked with before, so yes.
Batman Azteca Clash of Empires premiered its trailer, reimagining Batman in Mesoamerican lore. Panels for DC Comics revealed new arcs for Superman and Batman. Absolute Batman is coming. DC booth activations included a playable Fortnite DC crossover, a Progressive-sponsored Action Comics #1 photo op, and a Milkbone comic featuring Crypto.
Nice.
So cute.
I love it. I think Peacemaker is going to be great. And so looking forward to that and seeing more about Superman and the whole universe that is expanding with Peacemaker. That's exciting to me. With Disney, I did see the Percy Jackson and Olympia Season 2 trailer. I'm a big fan of the franchise, kind of digging the way it's being handled right now on Disney+. FX has got Alien Earth, premiered its pilot in Hall H. Seemed like it was doing really well. I'm a big fan of the Alien franchise overall. King of the Hill is coming back, season 14, and they had a cookout there and a cast reunion, which was fun. You and I both love Phineas and Ferb. But they had a big fan reunited panel, and they brought back the cast of that, which is great. They're back for yet some more summertime adventures this season on Disney. And Abbott Elementary hosted a block party and teased season 4. So that's a lot of fun with Disney. Star Wars, both you and I love Maul. And
True.
Sam Witwer is kind of, once again, the king of the geeks right now. The stuff he did with Otoy and Star Trek was amazing. So now he's back doing Maul once again for the new animated series. Ahsoka Season 2 looks really good. Ezra Bridger's new costume. I'm excited about that. A bunch of new Hasbro figures were also introduced, and you can check them out for all the latest. The High Republic finale comic launches July 30th, so it's going to wrap up this era. And I'm excited about collectors love Comic-Con, and HasLab has got some great stuff. If you're a big fan of the LA gunship with stretch goals, you can pick that up. I will say that I've downloaded the Hasbro Pulse app now. I've had it for several years. And if you don't get notifications, you're in trouble, because I totally missed out on a couple action figure releases, and I wanted to pick them up. So make sure you have those notifications on there, because otherwise you'll miss out like I did. Are you a Trekker, Kat?
I love Star Trek.
Okay, good. You and I don't get a chance to talk too much about Star Trek, because we always talk about Disney every week on 98 Disney.
That checks out.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on Star Trek?
Well, Star Trek Starfleet Academy panel confirmed that they're filming with a focus on young cadets in a post-burn galaxy, which I love. Very excited for that. Unfortunately, Star Trek Legacy remains in development limbo, but cast members say that there's interest, potential storylines. Star Trek Lower Decks Season 5 previewed new episodes and hinted at a crossover. I love Lower Decks. I think it's completely unhinged. I don't know if you've watched it.
I love it.
It's so crazy. I just love it so much. I don't know if you saw this, but they did like a full flash mob in the gas lamp. There was like a dance number. I was dying. It looked so funny, and I love that they're kind of leaning into the weirdness that is Star Trek, and it's perfect.
I love the fan service of Lower Decks. It's smart. It's funny. Yeah. I love the Rick and Morty of it all. I think it's just hilarious. And I actually saw the trailer for Starfleet Academy. There's a lot of deep cuts there. And the fact that this is not a spoiler, but Robert Picardo coming back as the Doctor, like, this is what I love. Voyager is the series that I got my wife to get into Star Trek, because I was like, I think she's going to like Janeway. They have a lot of similarities, and I nailed it. She loves Janeway, and so this is really great. So I'm looking forward to now you can tell Kristen that we talked about Star Trek, and she's like, yeah, I do like Captain Janeway. There's coffee in that nebula.
Perfect.
That is my wife. So there you have it. Also in video games and adaptations, Twisted Metal Season 2 on Peacock is getting ready to kind of unleash here shortly. I'm looking forward to Invincible Season 4. Matthew Reyes joins Dinosaurs. Creator Robert Kirkman teased a 7-9 season 7 and 9 season arc. I can't believe that they're going to do those past season 4, but I love Invincible. I think it's great. Also, Mighty Nine on Prime Video has got Critical Role's next animated series premieres November 19th with an all-star guest cast. I've not checked this out, but this will be very cool. And Avatar 7 Heavens, a sequel to Avatar The Last Airbender, was confirmed, expanding the universe with new characters.
That I'm excited about.
I'm excited about some of these. I'll pick a few highlights for horror and sci-fi. We talked about Alien Earth, which is going to be great on FX, expanding the Alien franchise. The Strangers Chapter 2 looks really good, hitting theaters September 26th. The Long Walk, Stephen King's dystopian adaptation, revealed a trailer featuring Mark Hamill. That's going to be interesting. I'm a big fan of a lot of Stephen King's work. Yeah. Also, we got Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I really enjoyed Five Nights at Freddy's. And this is going to, the trailer dropped, and it's going to be dropping the film December 5th, just in time for my birthday. So Skeet Ulrich will join the cast. And last, Predator Badlands flips the narrative of the Predator's POV, stars Ellie Fanning and Demetrius Schuster-Colomakti. Colamacting D. I can't say that name. It's so bad. I apologize. I'm butchering your name, but Predator Badlands looks very interesting indeed. Let's wrap up some of this stuff here with sci-fi and superheroes. What else we have, Kat?
Outlander Season 8 is the final season, and the prequel Blood of My Blood, it premieres in a couple of weeks on August 8th. Tron Ares, I just saw the trailer for Tron Ares on the IMAX screen before Fantastic Four. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
Releases October 10th.
Yes.
Gen V is a favorite. They're coming back the 17th of September, and they're going to cross over with The Boys, whose season 5 is coming in 2026. And I just love that they're leaning into the supernatural of it all with that. It's fantastic. Just
love it.
Keep bringing more people.
Yes.
Perfect. Spinal Tap 2 revealed their trailer.
Yeah.
I love that they've made another Spinal Tap. Incredible. Rick and Morty President Curtis, a spinoff starring Keith David, who is an icon.
Yes.
As Dimension Hopping Commander-in-Chief.
Awesome.
South Park Season 27, which is in all of the headlines right now for their antics.
I can't believe it. It's
just love.
27 years. 27 seasons. I mean, I remember South Park when I was in college. This is insane.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They just keep going. They keep going.
Yeah, they keep being fresh and relevant, so that's what they do.
Yeah.
Yep.
So lots of things. Lots and lots of things.
Wow, Kat. This has been a huge roundup. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of what Comic-Con has to offer. Last but not least, we talked last week on the show on Dining at Disney about the Walt animatronic. And you saw the Walt animatronic firsthand this past week. Kat, what are your thoughts on the animatronic?
Well, if you listen to Dining at Disney, you know that I am the resident naysayer Dining at Disney. And I, as a harsh critic and experiential producer myself, I thought it was very well done. There is a little uncanny valley to it, which I've said before, but I was very surprised by the animatronics kinetic movement. I was surprised by how I'm not going to use the word lifelike, but like how natural and like authentic it felt.
Mm-hmm.
How organic it felt. I know a lot of people are up in arms about this thing, and I understand where the conversation comes from. Obviously, I love a dissent, and I'm usually not the person who's saying, oh, it was great. But I do think that the way that they've made huge progress in how these animatronics are made is really important, and it says a lot about what's possible in the near future for Disney and what they can bring to the park and how they can do it. It's no longer just a world of maquettes or statuettes with projected faces. Now we can make a full animatronic that looks like it's living, breathing, standing, sitting, gesturing, and I think it's really important if we're going to continue to progress in the way that they seem to want to progress.
Yes, and once again, for the uninitiated, to celebrate the 70th anniversary of Disneyland, they did open up at the Main Street Opera House. I keep on saying Opry House because of the Grand Ole Opry. It's the Nashville in me. I can't help it. At the Opera House, Walt Disney A Magical Life, which is over there at Disneyland, and it is a remarkable piece of animatronic technology, I will say, and I think it can only get better. I know that there were a lot of, as I watch social unravel, because I'm friends with Dave, and Dave has been a little critical of it, as well as a lot of, the animators and filmmakers in the circle that Dave is involved with it, especially former Disney animators and Imagineers. They're going to be very critical of it. And I would like to think of this as a moment in time where, they can improve upon it. So I have not seen it myself. I'm glad that you provided that perspective from someone that has seen it, that does care about the legacy, that is, that is part of what you do as a career. And so once again, I can only hope that it continues to be better. I look forward to seeing it myself one day. Now that I have kids, it's going to probably be a little while before I can make it out, since I'm not a pass holder over there anymore. But I do hope to get back there. What are your thoughts? We would love to hear them. Kat, thank you so much for joining us on the show this week. It's been amazing. And once again, why don't you remind people where they can find you?
Yeah, thank you for, oh my gosh, what's happening with my voice this morning? Thank you again for inviting me. I'm so happy. I know it's in an unfortunate circumstance that I had to come in and cover for Dave a little bit, but our thoughts are with him. And I really enjoyed talking about this stuff with you, Aljon. You know that. If you want to follow me, you can find me on Instagram at catastrophe, at CAT_ASTROPHE. And also every week on Dining at Disney with Aljon and Kristen, anywhere you get your podcasts.
Thank you, Kat. And you are sweet. You're just the best. And I love talking pop culture with you. Hopefully you'll be able to pop back in from time to time and chime in on pop culture news and reviews. And thank you so much for joining us on Skull Rock Podcast.
I love that. Thank you.
He's a poet.
I just never took you for a poet before.
A poet?
Just so you know, since you're new here, I'm a poet, a street poet.
Celebrate Disneyland's 70th anniversary with Skull Rock Podcast's Poet Laureate Matt Mason.
Well, finally, we are back again for the last week of July, and it is the 70th anniversary of Disneyland. So all through the month of July, we have been inviting the Skull Rock Podcast Poet Laureate Matt Mason to read a poem from his book of Disneyland poems titled At the Corner of Fantasy and Maine, Disneyland, Midlife, and Churros. So, Matt, have at it this week. This is our final poem from you for the celebration of Disneyland's 70th anniversary.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. 70 fantastic years, and I've seen a few of them, but not all of them. This poem from the book, which the book, incidentally, is the greatest book of Disneyland poetry ever published. It's possibly the only one, but it did win an award, so I'll take a little credit at least. And I love it. So this poem is for my dad. It's called "At the Corner of Adventure and Frontier." At the corner of adventure and frontier, where wisps of pineapple frost rise in crests, where there are lines of people on either side of a tiki counter, sits your dad's ghost. Blue and white flowers in full bloom on his shirt from the island where he was born. He is a spirit on a bench next to a giant bird of paradise tree. Your oldest daughter sits down with him, her hands around a Dole Whip cup, though you don't think she sees him. She is in stillness, eyes closed, approaching this universe like a hibiscus in full bliss.
Wonderful, Matt. Thank you for that. And once again, folks, Matt Mason is the official poet laureate of the Skull Rock Podcast. He's the author of At the Corner of Fantasy and Maine, Disneyland, Midlife, and Churros, which is arguably, I believe, the only book on Disneyland poetry available, and it is a award-winning book. If you'd like to get an author-signed copy, just visit the Old Mill, and they will take care of you if you order one. Matt, thank you very much for being with us for the month of July to help celebrate the 70th anniversary of Disneyland.
Hey, it's been a real pleasure. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Aljon.
A long string of celebrity passings this week. First with the tragic passing of Malcolm Jamal Warner. We all knew him as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. Warner brought vulnerability and warmth to the sitcom world. His later work on Malcolm and Eddie and The Resident showed his evolution as a respected actor, and his death, while heroically saving his daughter in Costa Rica, reminds us that of the love he had behind the screen. Just a very tragic death indeed. Ozzy Osbourne passed, the Prince of Darkness and frontman of Black Sabbath, just fresh on the heels of this last tribute concert, which was absolutely amazing, passed away. You know, he had a lot of controversy during his famous run. Just one of the fathers of heavy metal music, and his final performance, as I alluded to, in Birmingham was a poetic send-off for a man who defined rock and roll and heavy metal. Chuck Mangione, 84 years, known for his flugelhorn melodies. One of my favorite songs is "Feels So Good." It was kind of one of the more notable instrumental songs that hit the top 40 back in the day. He had numerous appearances in all kinds of shows, including King of the Hill, where it showcases charm and musical sensibility. He brought jazz and pop together like no other. Chuck Mangione, what a great musician. Connie Francis, also at the age of 87, pop legend of the 50s and 60s. I know my dad would oftentimes talk about Connie Francis. She voiced timeless hits like Who's Sorry Now. Her music set the soundtrack for jukeboxes and quiet car rides across the decades. Very good indeed. And one of wrestling world's and entertainment world's largest superstars. In fact, there was none larger than Hulk Hogan, passing away at 71. His signature mustache and booming brother charisma elevated professional wrestling into a global juggernaut. His influence far stretched beyond the ring into pop culture, representing strength and showmanship. A very controversial figure in his later years. However, I choose to remember him as the wrestling superstar that urged everyone to say their prayers and take their vitamins. So as we turn the page on this week's headlines, we offer a standing ode to these dreamers and storytellers. They gave us more than entertainment. They gave us connection, and may their lights continue to glow in every laugh, tear, and tune we carry forward. And now, everybody, let's sit back and relax. Enjoy this next bit of business, part 6 of our Kevin Lima month. We're wrapping things up right here on Skull Rock Podcast. Enjoy.
Hey, let's chat.
Let's chat. So let's chat now. Let's chat afterwards. And he said, let's chat again.
Skull Rock Podcast. Interview time.
Well, Aljon, we are back for week 6. My God, how I don't even know. I think we're going to go beyond 6 episodes with Kevin Lima, but we've got director, story artist, all around great guy, Kevin Lima, back in the Skull Rock studios. Kevin, welcome back for week 6. My God.
And I doubted you.
And you did doubt me. I do want to pick up where we left off. And that was, we were kind of at the tail end of Enchanted and the end of production. And we just briefly touched on the reception of the movie, the release of the film to the theaters, and how you kind of said they didn't really support the movie initially because they didn't think it was going to do the business it did, but it turned out to be a blockbuster.
Yeah. Well, at the moment in time, there was a big sort of upheaval at the studio. And I had been working with Nina Jacobson the whole time. And she was let go. And the head of marketing, Oren Aviv, came in and took over the division. And we were months away from release.
Yeah.
And so there was a whole new group. You know, Oren was never a big fan of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't think it would actually be successful. So when we first came in, we were doing test screenings. And we did a test screening that was like 93%, like would recommend.
Which is huge because it's not a finished film yet.
Yeah. It was. They were kind of shocked, and I think they were expecting to not get that kind of a number, so they were gearing everything towards, okay, this is going to be a moderate film. We're not going to put a huge amount of money behind it. And so they were so shocked when the movie was a big smash hit.
They were shocked, but they took credit for it.
Of course. Of course.
Right? With the marketing people, if the movie doesn't do well, it's because it wasn't a good movie. If the movie does exceedingly well, it was because of all the marketing they did.
And you're in this strange time period, right? With this turnover of executives. This movie was made under a different executive, right? So how does this new executive come in, and how do they sort of maneuver in the situation?
But I have to point out here that when there is an executive change out like that, projects that were developed or in production under the previous regime usually get the short end of it.
Yes.
Because it's sort of like, well, that's not my movie and I don't care about it. I'm going to do as little as possible with it because I'm moving on with my slate of films. That's what happened to The Black Cauldron when Michael Eisner and Frank Wells and Jeffrey Katzenberg came into the company. The movie was virtually done and they didn't like it and it wasn't under their watch and they did very little to support that film when it went out.
Yeah, there's a saying that a new broom sweeps clean.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
But this movie was done, right? So they couldn't really do that with it.
Yeah. I mean, contractually, they have to release it.
Well, they just spent $75 million on it.
Right.
Right? So they have to try to make every penny they can.
Yeah.
So, but Dick Cook was still there.
Yeah.
And Dick was a huge supporter. Huge. And he believed in the film and he just kept pushing and pushing and pushing everybody involved to do everything that they could for it. So he often and then this comes up in a couple of months in the storyline, he would call me, I raised you at Disney. You're like my Disney son. So for better or for worse, as you'll see, in how things go down. But it was so well received. It was a surprise. Men often say, I didn't expect to like this at all.
Yeah.
And I really loved it.
When I saw it in the theaters. And I loved it, and I was looking forward to seeing it. So I had no preconceived notion about it, other than I know Kevin, I know I know him from Disney. I love animation, but I love the movies. I want to go to a theater and have the movie experience. If you listen to the podcast, I pretty much go to the movies almost on a weekly basis. Sometimes twice a week. I like to see a lot of different types of movies. Not so much the horror films, everything else. Look, you had to go through a minefield with the new executives, but you did have Dick Cook still in your corner, which was huge. He was at the top of the heap.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so the movie goes out and it does phenomenal.
It does well. It does really well. It gets lauded and it won a lot of awards for a lot of people.
And it was number one opening weekend, if I remember correctly, and it had legs to it.
Yeah, over Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving weekend in 2007, it played through the holidays. So I couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah.
So I'm writing. I feel like I've totally made up for 102 Dalmatians. I figured out who I am as a live action, as a director that crosses between genres. Genres? Is that correct?
You cross between animation and
live action. Yeah. So it was mediums. I guess that would be mediums. Genre would be.
You cross between mediums.
Mediums. Right. So cross between mediums. So I felt really good about where I was at. Disney was Dick Cook was courting me to have a production deal at the studio. And so we went into that.
And did you get that production deal?
No.
Okay.
Here's a little drama for you.
Okay.
So, and this is going to be totally from my perspective, right? I'm going to share this. This is from where I sit.
Yeah.
I got stuck at a point in time when, as we talked about, an executive changeover. I was Dick's boy. There were executives who I would be working under who I don't think really wanted me to be there.
Mm-hmm. Because you were close with Dick.
Because I was close with Dick.
Yeah.
So there was, and I won't go into all the details, but there was a little bit of behind the scenes manipulation that took place. And there wasn't a movie for me to direct there. So I said, okay, we'll have this production deal. We'll start developing some things, and I'm going to go look for a movie somewhere else to direct. And other directors who worked at Disney all the time, like John Turteltaub and Adam Shankman, they were all off doing this very same thing. So I didn't question it. I thought, I can do that too. Well, it was kind of used against me. And Dick got very angry that I was off sort of starting a movie at Warner Brothers. No one had told Dick And I didn't think to tell Dick.
Oh, okay.
And I should have thought to tell Dick. And so when Dick found out, he blew a gasket. Or when the news was delivered to Dick, he blew a gasket. And I no longer had a deal. Okay. And in fact, I was told that if I didn't sign away my right of first refusal on the sequel to Enchanted, they weren't going to make it. So everybody that I was working with wouldn't get the chance to move forward. So I signed away my right of first refusal on the sequel.
Wow.
And I find out much later that I could have been a producer. I could have made a whole lot of money to get out of my contract, but it turned out that my agent and one of the executives at the studio were best friends. So all of this stuff kind of happened behind the scenes. And again, I want to point out that this is how I've put the puzzle together.
It's your perspective.
It's my perspective.
And by the way, Kevin, every guest that we have on the Skull Rock is telling their stories. It's their story. It's from their perspective. And that's why when we interview people, we've interviewed, a dozen people who all worked on The Little Mermaid or Beauty and the Beast, but we're getting their perspective of, where they were in the production process. They were seeing things differently than you would see it or I would see it,
Right. Yeah. So I lost my production deal. I was supposed to direct the next Muppet movie. At the premiere, at the party afterwards, Dick Cook took me aside and said, "You're going to do the Muppet movie." And so,
gosh, I wish you had.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. So you
went to Warner Brothers and
studio.
You went to Warner Brothers and you did what?
And I started developing movies. I wasn't on any deal at Warner Brothers, but I was developing a couple of movies. They gave me some space. I worked on a film. The first film I worked on was something called The Spook's Apprentice, which ended up being called The Seventh Son.
Okay.
I think it's based on a young adult reader series. And I developed it, and I worked with the Brizzi brothers. They did a lot of great artwork.
Oh, my God. I love the Brizzi brothers.
Crazy good artwork.
I work with them on the Firebird sequence for Fantasia 2000. I absolutely adore both of them because
they are so
talented.
incredible.
Not only incredible talents, they have great vision, and they
are true auteurs.
Yes, absolutely.
They are the definition. Yeah. And I worked with them I started with them on Goofy Movie, so they owned the studio that a Goofy Movie was animated. Yeah. They were that television arm. They came on to Tarzan. They did storyboards on Tarzan.
They did like the opening sequence of Tarzan?
They did the opening sequence and a couple of other sequences. Yeah. On Enchanted, they came in and did the whole ending of the movie. They did the whole dragon, all of that. Yeah. So I kept using them. So they came on to this project, The Spook's Apprentice, and did a whole bunch of incredible artwork. And at the end of the day, the studio decided that I came from children's entertainment, so maybe I couldn't do this kind of horror movie. So I got really pigeonholed. But I did go on and I developed a whole lot of movies, like maybe 4 or 5 movies at Warner Brothers.
That got made?
That never got made.
Oh, never got made.
Never got made. Wow. And in fact, the story from here on out is that I never have produced another. I've never had another movie released.
Never?
Never. I have not had another movie since
Enchanted.
Since Enchanted actually released.
But you've developed a ton.
I've developed 20 movies.
I mean, you even sent me one. No, but I just so our listeners know, I was traveling.
Did you read it?
No, I was traveling, and I get this email from Kevin Lima, and I'm expecting it to say, "Hey, I'm looking forward to next Monday, blah blah blah," when we were going to do this interview, and then I see that there's some, and I'm not going to mention the name, but I see the name of a script attached, and I'm like, and I think to myself, Yeah, he didn't mean to send this to me. There's another Dave in his emails that
There is. It was my agent. My agent said, I think you sent this to the wrong Dave.
Right. And so then I get this other email from Kevin that says, oh, I sent that to you by mistake. Please disregard it. And then I sent you back a note saying, absolutely, I didn't look at it. God's honest truth, I did not look at it. I deleted it. And then I wrote back to you that it was the come of silence as opposed to cone of silence, because I typed cone and it changed it to come. And then
I think I said something like, oh no.
You said, oh my. Anyway, I had a good laugh about it, and I wanted to share that with our listeners. But the fact of the matter is that you've just been developing a lot of projects, but this is the way of the business. There's a lot of directors in Hollywood who, in between projects, have developed tons of movies that don't get made.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I've come very close many times.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we were developing The Incredible Mr. Limpet, a reboot of that.
Oh my gosh, that would be fantastic.
Which has been going on for...
Yeah. A lot of people have been trying to get that off the ground,
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, probably for the last 25, 30 years.
We did a big test, and at the last minute, I was, we had storyboard artists, we were putting up reels, we were hiring people coming onto the lot, setting up editorial, doing everything. And I was told that I had to get one of 3 actors, or they were going to shut down the movie. And those actors were Ben Stiller, Tom Cruise, or Jim Carrey, one of those actors to come on board. Tom Cruise didn't even said no.
Right.
Ben came in, something happened kind of behind the scenes with his credit or something, and that ended up not happening. And then when we were working, and we were very close with Jim Carrey, and we brought in Simon Beaufoy, he wrote Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
And he came in, and we were headed towards a meeting. I had already met with Jim once. We were heading in towards a meeting to go over notes. And Jim, I think, was going through his separation at the time.
His what?
His separation. He was separated from his wife, or they were in the process of getting divorced. And he said, he called us as we were driving. Simon Beaufoy came over from England, flew here from England. As we were driving to Jim's house, he just said, his agent called and said, turn around and go home. He doesn't want to meet. Just do a rewrite and he'll read it.
Wow.
And so that ended up not happening. And I was pitching very heavily because they had, what's the name? The Hangover movies. What's his name? It became a big deal in that movie.
Oh,
right on the tip of my tongue.
Yes. I'm picturing him.
He's kind of he's kind of like a loose cannon. Mustache, beard.
Yes, I'm picturing him right now, and I can't pull his name
terrible.
out.
It's terrible that I can't think of his name.
We're awful,
what's his name? Galifianakis.
Yes, that's it. Yes, Josh Galifianakis.
So I was pitching him, and he had just done The Hangover, but they wouldn't do it with him because he wasn't a big enough star. Anyway, so many things like that across my time. Did a movie called Avon Man, and we were actually with Hugh Jackman, and he played an Avon man who went up against the corporation, saying that a guy can do a better job than a woman. And
I said it's Zach.
Zach
Galifianakis. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
He would have been great.
He would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
He would have been he would have been quirky and a little oddball, with some movie needs.
So was that at Warner Brothers?
I was at Warner Brothers, yeah.
And so that just died on the vine.
It just died in that moment. And
wow.
I think someone else tried to tried to pull it together again. I just got a call recently about it again. Wow. But there's honestly, there's probably $30 million against that movie before you even shoot a frame.
Yeah, but you know what they do? They change the name, and the 30 million is written off as a loss, and then they start with a clean slate using all of that stuff with a new title. I mean, how many times did they do that at Disney?
Right. No, absolutely. And then at the same time, though, not at the same time, but years later, Finding Dory came out.
Yeah.
And it kind of used a bunch of things that we had done in ours. Ours took place in an aquarium.
Yeah.
And then that film took place in an aquarium. So
okay.
Kind of like, all right.
Yeah.
We missed this boat.
Yeah.
This Avon Man movie, we went all the way to Atlanta, to Georgia, set up offices. We're getting ready. And Hugh Jackman was finishing up Real Steel at that time. And Avon Man would have come out before Real Steel. And he got nervous about the fact that here was this romantic comedy coming out before this sort of He-Man
wow.
Action movie.
And so he pulled out?
He pulled out of that at the last minute. It's happened a bunch of times. But yeah, I did the one movie that I wish I would have gone further is that I developed a live action Candyland movie.
Really? Based on the board game?
Based on the board game. I did it, my concept was that it was King Lear meets the Lord of the Rings meets Candyland. So there's a giant world out there that's embroiled in the kingdom being turned over from King Candy and Princess Frostine and what's his name? Lord Licorice are fighting over the title. And a human family ends up being transported into the game, like Jumanji.
Okay, yeah.
And have to go on this journey to save.
Yeah. And all of these movies just, I mean,
one reason or another, they just, this movie, Hasbro had a deal at, I'm surprised I remember all this, had a deal at Universal.
Right.
And then the Battleship movie came out and bombed.
And so Universal
pulled back. The deal was done. They broke.
Right.
They just sort of left the Hasbro deal.
Yeah.
We brought it over. Adam Sandler was interested in being in the movie. He didn't want to produce it. He didn't want to, didn't want it to be part of his company.
Right.
But in this moment, he brought it to Sony and took it over.
Yeah.
And rewrote it away from me. And it just, and then Adam got in a big fight with Amy Pascal over at, that whole thing happened with the emails that got leaked.
Yeah, that was the North Korean hacking incident of the Sony emails. Yes.
So it really, what I realize is that so many of these things, and over time what I realize is that I'm only just a small part of the bigger picture that's, the bigger landscape that's happening.
Well, it's a giant ecosystem and you're swimming around in it.
And I'm trying to make something happen, right?
Yeah.
I spent 2.5 years on a movie at DreamWorks.
Really?
An animated movie called Monkeys of Mumbai.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so it's a big animated movie.
Was that was based on the folktale, the Monkey King folktale? Or
no, it's not the Monkey King. It's the Ramayana.
Okay.
And so it's got religious text kind of roots. And the studio was always a little nervous about it, but Stephen Schwartz came in and A.R. Rahman, who is the big Bollywood musician. They wrote songs. We were cast. We were storyboarding. We were on our third set of reels. We were... And Jeffrey decides to sell the studio to Universal.
And that
he
killed it?
writes off $400 million worth of projects.
Wow, and yours was one of them.
And mine was one of them.
Wow.
And they had spent $30 million on it.
Wow.
So again, it's like I'm stuck in this ecosystem that has nothing to do with me.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And that's the nature of the business.
It absolutely is.
And how do you as a director and as an artist not sort of get sucked into the undertow of, woe is me and depression?
It's hard.
And,
it's hard, Dave. It's and depending upon the project, I have a different reaction, and it's always a little different.
Yeah.
What I've learned to do over time is to invest in the journey.
Yeah.
right? That the journey is worth it.
Well, and that's what they've always said. A lot of people don't believe that, but it's not about the destination. It really is about the journey.
It is. Would I like to have a movie produced and released? Sure.
Yeah, sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And I made a lot of money over the years,
Of course, yeah.
doing this, what I've been doing in this manner. But, I'd in some ways give it all back for a released movie.
Yeah. But looking down the line, you just keep plugging away and keep developing projects, and
I have that. That's part of my DNA, I think.
Yeah.
Or it was instilled in me when I was really young. Just this, I come from divorced parents, and my dad disappeared when I was 12. And so I've always had this kind of like drive to keep going, to not let those speed bumps in life get in your way, just to pick yourself back up again.
Yeah.
Just keep going.
Well, I think you have to always remain optimistic, and you have to always be looking to the horizon as to what's next, what you're interested in, what you're excited about, what you want to do.
And I put less emphasis on the outcome.
Yeah.
Which is the finished movie, and more emphasis on the moment.
Yeah, the making of.
The making of, and working with a writer or working with artists. That's become the thing that's really, that really drives me.
Yeah.
So.
And what are you excited about now?
There's one more piece of the puzzle here. I don't know how we're doing time-wise.
Oh no, we're fine. We're fine. I'm the arbiter of the clock. I'm the one that'll tell. I will tell you if we're bumping up against time.
So after Monkeys, Brenda and I Brenda Chapman, my wife, and I do our first writing together, as we actually write a script for a movie that someone else ends up making in one of those same sort of situations. It was a Broadway musical called 13 the Musical. And it was on Broadway for a short amount of time. And we're doing it with CBS Films. Netflix is interested in it. And then they do this thing, which is pretty classic in Hollywood. They wait for the option to come available. We're doing this through CBS Films.
Yeah.
And Netflix waits for the option to come up, and then they buy the option after it's come up, and they go and they make it by themselves. They throw everything that we've done out.
Yeah.
And that's happened to me a couple of times too.
Yeah.
But Brenda and I we get called by Stacey Snider over at 20th Century Fox, and they want to sort of shore up their family division. So they ask us to come in as a production entity. So we start a company called Twas Entertainment, Brenda and me. They give us a whole lot of money to develop movies. Brenda and I were already writing a movie, which we thought was, I wish I could make this movie too. It's called The Cartoon Touch. And if you've ever heard of the Midas Touch, which I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
About a king that everything he touches turns into gold. The Cartoon Touch, someone gets cursed with everything he touches turns into a cartoon. And all of Manhattan, in a frenzy, gets animated. And the military comes in and they close off the island of Manhattan to try to contain this virus, this cartoon virus. And so we develop that, and a couple of other things get set up. We set up 5 movies.
Yeah.
With this company, and then Disney buys Fox. And Disney does not need a family division. They are a family division.
My God.
So we've got like 2 years left of our deal, and we're basically just sitting it out. Luckily, they have first right of refusal, and we set up 4 other movies.
Yeah.
With other studios. And none of those movies have gotten made. One of them was with me and Bill Kelly, who wrote Enchanted. Mm-hmm. We wrote something called Chris Crindle, which was like a streaming series. It's going to be like one of those 6 episode streaming.
Yeah, limited series. Yeah.
And we wrote all the scripts. It's Chris Crindle, and it's about who was Santa when he was 17, when he was on the cusp of becoming Santa. And it too was like one of those big world building Lord of the Rings type mythical creatures.
Yeah.
Sort of, and then along comes Wednesday, I think, was what happened. And they had to make room and they had to get rid of a bunch of development. And ours was one of the projects they shelved at that moment.
Wednesday is a good show.
Wednesday's a great show,
Yeah,
right?
it really is. Yeah.
Yeah. It cost them a bunch of money. So, we still got some projects set up from that company.
And you just keep plugging away.
We just keep plugging at it.
Yeah.
That ended. And so we decided we're going to close down to us. Producing is hard. Producing is a full-time job.
Oh, yeah.
And, Brenda and I just looked at each other and said, is this what we want to do? Do we want to produce or do we want to create?
Yeah.
So we took back our time, right? Because that's what we have. And we just started doing other work, doing a lot of our own work. We just handed in a script, which you got emailed.
I only saw the title of it. I never opened the attachment. I just want you to know that. I never opened the attachment.
It's okay.
It's the Cone of Silence.
But this project is with Dick Cook.
That's awesome.
Who got fired at Disney.
Yeah.
Years ago.
And you guys were good a long time ago, right? Did
that
all get worked out?
We worked it out.
Yeah.
In fact, in talking to Dick, it's really become this sort of like he was as manipulated as I was.
Sure.
In all of this. So Brenda and I just handed in a draft of that. Hopefully that can happen. It's based on a young adult series of books that have sold like 30 million copies.
Yeah.
So, it has a little bit better of a chance.
It's got a built-in audience.
Yeah. I wrote something that's autobiographical, basically about how creativity can help someone gain control in a world out of control.
Sure.
It's really autobiographical. It's about a 10-year-old boy whose puppets become real to him, and they are his ego, his superego, and his id. Help him navigate all the hardships that I went through. So that's been great. And in fact, I was going to say, we all seem to come full circle, don't we? Because you're coming full circle. It is coming right back to it. So that's, we're starting to send that out to producers, trying to get a producer attached. And I've decided that since my time is my own, that I'm going to draw that as a graphic novel.
Oh, awesome.
I've started doing drawings and designing characters and going back to those roots again, right?
Yeah.
Embracing that. Before I get that Charles Schultz wiggly line, take advantage of where I'm at in life. And I've been really enjoying doing that. Like drawing again has been a great joy. Really wonderful. And I always wanted to do a puppet film. I always wanted to work for the Muppets. I think we talked about how early on, while I was at college, I actually applied at the Muppets.
Yeah, you went there, right?
I went there and I interviewed.
You met Brian Henson?
Well, I met Brian much later.
Oh, okay.
When I was out developing. But I met Michael Frith, who was their big designer. And I have since become really good friends with Dave Goles, who's
Yes, and who does Pepe the Shrimp?
Or yes,
Pepe the Prawn, I should say.
The prawn. Bill Beretta. I've met Bill. So I just love that world, and I love those people, and I love how they make entertainment. It really feels like animation to me.
Yeah.
Where a bunch of people get into a room and have the time of their lives, working really, really hard to make something that they believe in. So I just wrote a short. I wrote a short film that I'm just going to produce. And it's got 2 puppets in it. And I wrote it so that it can be shot on a real shoestring. So I'm gonna take that on.
Awesome.
Just really sort of going back to embracing who I am.
And doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
I completely respect that, and I think that's good for the soul.
It is. And you're not reliant upon anyone, right?
That's right.
It's all on you.
Yep.
No one has to give me $1 million to do this. I can do it on my own. It's just time.
Yeah.
That's what it takes, time.
One thing I'd like to ask you, Kevin, is what advice would you give to somebody who is, just starting out? Because, we all go to, conventions and different fan events and things periodically. Yeah. And I have to tell you, I'm just amazed at the amount of people who are in animation programs, not only all over the country, but all over the world. And, what advice would you give some of those people that are listening to this program?
It's so tough because every single one of us is different. Our roads are different. I would say there's a couple of things is that, and there are a couple of things that I learned over my career. It's to always ask for what you want.
Yeah.
Is always ask. What's the worst that can happen is someone can say no.
That's the worst. That is the worst.
And I learned very early on that I could make things happen for myself by asking.
Yeah.
Right. My very first job at the Puppet Workshop, I asked for that to happen. I went into welfare group who were giving jobs to 14-year-olds. And I said, hey, if I do this, I went to the Puppet Workshop and said, if you do this and I apply for this, then I can make a marriage. And it happened. So that was really good training really early on. And so that's the first thing. That's the first piece of it. And when you get a yes, right, if you're lucky enough to get a yes, then you got to be able to do the job. Mm-hmm. So the second step, it's actually the first step really, is to be prepared so that when you get a yes, you can do it.
And even if you don't know how to do it, you go figure it out.
Figure it out. You prepare the best you can, right? Yeah. So I was off doing things like directing community theater for free in my free time after work.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to gain those skills. So when and if it actually happened, I was ready. I was ready for it. And that's really about doing. A lot of directors ask me, like, how do I become a director? As if it's like something that has like a path that's you start as this position, you're a PA, and then you move up to become a first AD, and then it doesn't work that way at all. And it really is about doing. If you want to be a director, you have to do it.
And you as well as anybody knows that at Disney, the directors came up through the story department. They showed that they could put together a storyboard and tell a story effectively, and Absolutely. That's really the training ground for directors.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And having grown up in animation, it gave me tremendous footing for live action.
Yeah.
Tremendous footing. Although it's very different. The mediums are very, very different. I felt basically prepared to take it on, and I knew how to tell a story.
Yes.
Right? And I was telling stories a scene at a time, right? In animation, putting together all these scenes to add up to something bigger. So I would really say do it. Don't expect there to be some path.
Yeah.
If you could be a live action director, go make a short film. It's so easy to make a short film now. Go do it and prove to the world that you deserve to be in that.
Yeah, exactly. Kevin, I can't tell you what a joy it has been to have spent 6 episodes. I was going to say 6 hours, but it's 6 episodes.
6 episodes, yeah.
All right, 6 episodes. And you said to me at one point, oh, we're never going to do 6 episodes. Of course we did.
Because I think I had listened to a couple of your many episode, guests and thought, I don't have that much story to share.
Oh, you absolutely had plenty of stuff to share. And I have to say, we really appreciate your time and your wisdom and the stories behind the scenes. Just invaluable and entertaining. And
Dave, I feel honored to be on your show. And I feel a real sort of, you're doing something important. You are telling the full stories.
To me, that's something I love to not only listen to, but I love to ask the questions,
Yeah,
And
you're so engaged, and because you're a part of the industry in so many different ways, you're engaging to a speaker, right? To talk to you, for a guest, to talk to you is so incredibly easy, and you bring it out of us. So thank you.
I appreciate that. And Aljon and I both really appreciated all the time you gave us when it comes to doing the Skull Rock podcast. But you made it so easy for us to do these 6 episodes, and I so appreciate it. And I look forward to having you back at some point in the future.
I think I have another episode in me.
You know, I do think you have another episode in you to talk about the general state of the animation business.
It really is changing.
Yeah, so maybe we'll do that at some point. Anyway, thank you, Kevin Lima, for being on the Skull Rock podcast.
You're welcome, Dave. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Oh, yes. Skull Rock Podcast is on Patreon. You can help support the show with your monthly contribution and become a friend of the show. Be part of the almighty Skull Rock Podcast crew. Much like friend of the show, Josh Volker. Or you become a producer, an awesome crew member, Steve Munch. Also, Chris Banis. Thank you so much. By supporting the show, you get to make sure that A, you get a shout out on the show, and B, support the show and get this content for free every single week. Now, I tell you, one of the coolest things about being a Patreon crew member is the fact that you get to have ad-free versions of this show. So if you do dig it and you want it, we might even put in some extra, like, behind-the-scenes stuff. We're working on that. So if you enjoy the show, awesome. Be part of the show, be part of the Patreon, and keep this show going. We do appreciate it. Thank you so much for your support and subscribing to Skull Rock Podcast. Is it time?
It's time.
Okay, hot dog. It's time for the Disney Travel Deal. This week, Kristen, what do we have on tap for our fans?
This week, you can save up to 20% on select stays at Disneyland Resort hotels. This is going to be for stays of 3 nights or more from August 18th through December 19th. You must book by December 16th, and travel has to be completed by December 20th. This is good for Grand Californian Hotel and Spa, Disneyland Hotel, as well as the villas at Disneyland Hotel. So
very good. And how can people get in touch with you in order to take advantage of this awesome deal?
They can contact me at Kristen at Magical Journeys Travel. That's Kristen, Kristen at magicaljourneystravel.com.
This is Rasulullah Zadani, layout supervisor, and you're listening to Skull Rock Podcast.
It's just been an incredible Kevin Lima month.
It has. And we absolutely love it. And we're glad that you love it too. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure, if you just stumbled upon this show, be sure to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube page. We would appreciate that as well. Every little bit helps. Share the show. Give us that feedback. Write us those emails, Dave or Aljon at skullrockpodcast.com. Follow us on all of our social medias. We're on X, Facebook, Blue Sky, LinkedIn, Instagram. We're there. Check it out. We also have a little group there on Facebook as well for Skull Rock Podcast. We have a really cool, like, little ad-free section too of our Patreon. If you join Patreon, you'll get the show without any commercials. I put them up there for people, so please enjoy that as well and help support the show and whatever we're doing. And answer the poll question for this week. Would you like to see more video? Would you like to see video of Dave and myself and our guests? Please let us know in our poll for this week. Exclusively
I don't know,
on Spotify.
Aljon. We've got faces for radio.
That's what I've been told. I can speak for myself. Anyway, gang, feel free to follow me, Aljon Go, on Instagram. That's the best place to follow me. You can also check out my other podcast there at Dining at Disney. We have a show every week we release. We talk about the Disney parks and the food, which is so great. We're going to have some upcoming reviews from our trip to Walt Disney World Resort, which is going to be great. Cat, our correspondent, is talking about the Disneyland food, and she is going to be reviewing some of the Disneyland 70th stuff as well here in the weeks to come. And I will also mention the fact that thank you so much to Sorcerer Radio for helping promote the show at srsounds.com. Dave?
You can always catch me on the Tunes Behind the Tunes on Sirius XM, Disney Hits, Channel 133. All during July, we have been featuring the song Baby Mine from Disney's 1941 animated classic, Dumbo. And also, you can always get signed copies of my books from the oldmillpress.com, including my latest book, Find Your Happy Place, the 8-Step Guide to Boosting Your Creativity Through a Personal Retreat, winner of a gold medal at the Fire Book Awards. You can also check out what I'm up to on davidbossert.com. All my books are there. There's a whole bunch of free content for you to read about animation history, all at davidbossert.com. There's also free stuff. Check out the free stuff tab. And with that, Aljon, I will say go out and have a fantastic week. Enjoy the last full week of July. And we will see you back here next Monday, right here on the Skull Rock Podcast.